Hello friends and welcome. Today I want to talk about one of my go-to strategies I recommend for any offlaner looking to gain MMR. This is tried and true. It is one of the best ways to climb in my opinion. It involves axe and creep cutting. But a lot of people mess it up or they're too scared to do it, so I'm going to show you how it's done because it's been coming up again recently on my replay analysis streams, which is on Monday and Wednesdays. If you want to tune in, YouTube or Twitch, feel free. Anyways, it's going to start with this. You're going to pick axe. Right now, the build is really popular to get 3 ringer protections and an iron branch. Buy your tangos with a bounty gold. If you're too scared to like full commit that far, 2 ringer protections and some starting items, that's going to be okay for pub games. Step 1 of this strategy, hold that thought. Step 3 of this strategy, you need to get to level 3 and you want your armor from ringer protections, and then the pros like to go Helm of the Iron Will into Helm of the Dominator right now. That's really popular if you want to be like them. If you don't want that micro, phase boots into blade mail will still be very safe for pub games. So we need some components of that before we can start creep dragging. If you're doing the phase boots, then the boots and the chainmail. If you're doing the pro strat, then the Helm of the Iron Will. So buy whatever regen you need all along the way, depending how tough your lane is. But knowing that's our goal, step 1 now, coming back to that, you're going to do something like this. So at the start of this, you saw Axe grab the bounty rune here defensively, so he had tons of time to make it here, and he is body blocking his creeps. You could body block all of them, but actually I'm a big fan of this. Let 1 creep go through, body block the other 3. This is what's going to happen if you do that. If the enemy body blocks at all, like this Shadow Fiend did, then this creep is going to end up under the tower, which means the tower is going to start attacking it, which means instantly creep equilibrium is destroyed, and it will slowly make its way up here. Position 4 players, all you have to do is stop any pulls happening at that point, and Axe is going to lane here until he hits about level 3 if the enemy doesn't know how to fix equilibrium, which will happen in many of your pub games, so then you're good to go right off the bat. Now maybe Shadow Fiend didn't block the creep wave. Just imagine the creeps meeting a little bit further outside like they usually do. It's going to be 4 creeps versus 1 creep. So this creep is going to die much faster before these 3 creeps join into the fray. So then it's going to be quickly a 4 versus 3 in the creep wave. And then you can do like some creep aggro, right? Like draw the enemy creeps to chase you. The remaining creeps might end up walking under tower at that point. So right off the bat, Axe has done a trick to get him equilibrium. Let's say you go aggressively for this bounty rune, hang around here if the enemy, well, if there's a fight, I mean, who knows what happens, right? Big first bloods, whatever, you're gonna have to adjust on that. If nothing happens, get your bounty rune. A lot of people run back to the lane. You're gonna be too, you can still block 1 creep forward actually, that is still doable, but you can actually take a more guaranteed foolproof method, which is to wait in this area, either around here or here, wait for the creeps to walk by, and then step down and body block the enemy creep waves. What the enemy has to do right away once they see you doing this is to teleport to lane if they're not already here, run up and body block your creeps. You're only going to see that start to happen once you hit like 6-7k up. Like beyond that, people will know how to react properly. Most pub games, people won't know what to do. So you do a little body blocking. If they come to fight you like 2v1 because your support's not here and you're scared, that's okay. Just like run away into the jungle and then TP to lane and come up here. If they don't bother you too much, do a little body blocking, and then like once you get to here, run through here. You could go around, although this is kind of like the longest path. You'd like to not do that. A little body blocking, like you run over, body block, run through here, body block, run through here. You have several options. The point being is that equilibrium is going to get destroyed. It's going to shove out. And again, the enemy has to start doing a pull, so just ask your support, like, please stop them from pulling, and when they don't do it, do your best anyways. And once you're laning here, you're just going to get to level 3. So let's just zoom through this to show you. So Axe is going to work on his components, right? Because that creep died, and now he's doing a little creep aggro, so equilibrium is pulling towards him. The other creeps then go under tower. So now at this point, it is like 7 creeps to 4. Dark Willow is heading over to body block. She's actually a little late. They luck out. It's Kobold Camp, which sucks. This time, there's going to be a little bit more fighting than usual. For your pub games, I would recommend just do your best to last hit and tell your support, like, that's my goal. I'm trying to hit level 3 consistently. Like, let's mostly just sit here and farm. You can get involved in these types of early fights if you know what you're doing, but that's the tricky part in pub games. Your support doesn't know what they're doing. You know, you're like, oh, my 4 support's always bad, that's why I can't climb. So don't go with them into these fights that may be no good, right? We are doing something that is very self-sufficient. maintain equilibrium here. If they do a pull and it goes up here, you just got to do another trick to get it to come back, and just try to play the lane here as much as possible to get to your level 3 timing. Ideally, you do this ahead of the enemy, but as you can see here, he's not really ahead of the Shadow Fiend. That's okay. Once you get your boots and your blade mail, sorry, not your blade mail, your chain mail, you are good to go at the earliest. You do not have to start creep cutting at this point, because it will still be a little bit of a hassle. If you can push it off a bit more, depending how the game has gone, you could do that. In this case, you see he ended up going for some small items before now buying the boots. I'm gonna just jump ahead a little bit. They just had a rotation here, killed the enemy a bit. You might be like, oh, this is unfair, my team won't do it. Don't worry, he now feeds back. This might be a little bit more familiar with your pub games. So let's not worry about that. Look at Axe. He's really not that healthy, but he has his boots, so he's pretty safe when he runs around back here. Like, if you get chased by the support and the carry, they may not have their boots yet, especially the supports who aren't as rich as you, and then you just run this way, because you'll always be catching the next creep wave. I mean, you can't aggro them until 7.5 minutes, except for this point. You can't aggro them sooner until after 7.5 minutes, but that's okay. So, like, as you run away from the support, there's so many paths you can take to loop back around, to catch back into this area to grab the creep wave, and then do what Axe is doing, which is to bring it to the nearest camp. Now, the small camp is going to be the most efficient for you because it's, you know, from here to here. There's also technically the most danger, right? The support and the carry are in this area. TPs could come in, so there is some risk here. Keep an eye on the minimap. Judge how strong you feel. If you're not feeling great about this, you could go past this camp to your own hard camp. This is a little harder because these creeps are stronger, but you're in a bit of a safer position. You can also bring it back here to the boglets, to, you know, this medium camp, even over here. This one's not too strong yet. And you just spin between them. So now you're going to farm way more efficiently. And that is the key to this creep cutting thing, is that let's pretend the carry farms every creep wave that comes in and you farm every creep wave that comes in, but you also farm a jungle camp. So he's free farming, but we are free farming pro. Like, we have the extra efficiency on top of it because of these camps. And ideally, the carry is not free farming. So the support doesn't really need to help you once you start doing this creep cutting stuff. It could free them up to roam to other lanes, help with the power runes. They could go through the Twin Gate TP, help with the other lanes. They could just come back here and stack, which you would also be happy with. But to help you get the kill on the carry, they can hang around and harass the carry while they're trying to farm the creep wave, which once you're done doing what you need to do, which is the small camp and your creep wave, which is super fast thanks to counter helix, you can now join in with battle hunger. You can run people down because you have your boots, hopefully your phase boots, so you get the active on top of that. So you just run to finish the job. Shadow Fiend really does not have any mobility. If you're versus a carry who it would be harder to dive, someone like Weaver, right? Then yeah, maybe we don't bother with this quite yet. We like finish doing our own stuff, but you can always just see how the game goes, and especially in our pub games, there will be plenty of mistakes to capitalize on. So once you get something like this, it's a little awkward, right? This is where it feels weird as Axe, where it's like, oh, I want to creep cut and drag it, but the creep wave's here, so I'd have to miss a whole creep wave. Once this happens, I recommend try to get this creep wave killed quickly. Aggro it to you intentionally, even without having to use call. You just like attack any of the enemy heroes to bring them over. Get this wave to push in quickly so that you can then come over and catch the next wave. If you just sit here getting last hits as they become available, you'll never have time to come over here and catch the next creep wave and start creep cutting. You could choose to also leave your support and let them get it. That's a little bit up to you, but if you're watching this video, you may be a little frustrated with your position 4s and just looking, how can I do the most for myself as Axe? So here, see, he deals with the wave and he runs through and he has enough time. If he took even 5 more seconds, the creeps would have met here, and then it's like impossible to drag them away, right? Because these creeps always want to like come back here. It's so hard to pull them away. By the time you do, they're all dead, so we're losing the efficiency. So you want to grab the creep wave like this, and then because of the timing, he farmed this earlier, he's going to choose to come to this hard camp, and you stand in between them so that when you spin, you farm all at once. Again, when you do the harder camps, you're going to take a bit more damage, especially if you're not doing the Helm of the Iron Will. So don't be afraid to buy a little bit more regen if you need to. But the reason we are waiting for some armor and then for more points in counter helix, at least 2, but the more you have, the better, right? This becomes faster. So between the armor and the damage block, you really don't take that much damage from creeps. In fact, a lot of the time, you're going to be taking 50% of the time, statistically, you're going to be taking 1 damage from the creeps. Plus then counter helix, having the amount of attacks go down over time means you'll also spin faster so that these camps become easier and easier to do. So you just finish whatever camp you're at, run over, and this is where if the enemy carry is in here, you can mess with them for a few seconds. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. In this case, he intercepts the Shadow Fiend hanging around here, and because the creep wave is here, this is why it's hard to fight Axe. You're fighting into Axe where the creep wave is actually helping him. He's one of the only heroes where this benefits him, right? Because he's going to spin so much more, and then hopefully you're having a good time at this point, so we see a big net worth lead, we see a level difference here. So this was a full health Shadow Fiend that he just runs at, and then is going to get the kill here. Will all your games go this way? No. I know a lot of you are, like, those who are more resistant to this advice are saying like, oh, well, they had rotations, it's not quite the same. I know. But in our pub games, the enemies will make plenty of mistakes. For example, even without you doing any equilibrium tricks, they may just shove the lane forward for you. They may forget to do pulls, even though this camp is available. So I promise, there are things that go both ways. Just focus on yourself and the best you can do. Now here comes a Dragon Knight trying to punish the Axe. The enemy team knows Axe is getting out of control. Let's stop him. This is why the most dangerous time to creep cut is if you're doing it really early, level 3, level 4, all that stuff. Because once you have enough items like this Axe, some phase boots, like this Polywalk Charm, raindrops, like the Dragon Knight comes over, hits him, he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave now, goodbye, right? It's not easy to stop an Axe from creep cutting. There is risk, don't get me wrong, but as long as you're careful about what you're doing, as you learn the matchups and who can actually punish you, you slowly get to do stuff like this, where you're just so strong, you're just gonna start running at the carry, and a lot of you have 4K net worth at 10 minutes, sometimes even less than that. This Axe has it at 740 because he's balancing, dragging the creep waves to camps. He has 61 CS, and then in his free time, he comes over and gets kills. I know he sometimes has supports coming in to help him. You did see him get 1 solo kill earlier, but you can tell your team, like, I am so strong right now, please come play with me. Every game, it won't happen. But enough times where they go, yeah, okay, I'll come over and help you out, then you're gonna do really well. So again, climbing MMR is not about every single game going your way and the team listening to you. You just need a couple to go your way to boost your win rate up a little bit, and then learn to do this as consistently as possible on your own so that you're always in position to win anytime you get good teammates, and then win even when you sometimes have bad teammates, and you will lose sometimes when you have bad teammates, but that's okay. That's just part of the process. Let me show you why this works. Axe and Luna have similar net worths. Luna's one of the better heroes at dealing with this because she has glaives. By the time Axe finishes this camp, it's a little inefficient because I got broken, right? He's done by the time the creep wave gets to Luna. Now she has to last it under tower while a 4 support is messing with her. And this is where Axe can just run in and mess with her a little bit. If he doesn't want to do too much, he runs back out. I can't micro 2 heroes at once, so we're struggling a little bit. But notice how much damage the Luna took. She could kite a little better, sure, but it's nothing compared to Axe, where literally when the creep wave, which is not spawning because we're not in demo mode, where are they? Anytime damage block procs, Axe does not take any damage. Luna, if she was attacking non-stop, trying to do the same thing, right? Axe is now done. He could be moving to the next creep wave, next camp. He could come harass. Look how much damage Luna has taken already. Now, of course, she could try to kite a little better. There's only so much you can do when kiting under a tower in the early game, when the 4 support is messing you, when Battle Hunger's on top of you. She took half of her health to kill 1 creep wave the same way Axe did, and Axe is still sitting at full health because that's how little damage he took. So in 1 creep wave cut, I sometimes hear the worry like, am I letting the carry free farm? To a degree, right? She got the creep wave, but was it free? Look what it cost her. So we do this for another creep wave and another creep wave. And she has trouble getting her items in because I'm killing couriers back here and I'm getting my phase boots. Don't lose yours in the same way, right? And now when she has lost a chunk of her health and you're still sitting pretty, now you just run at her with your phase boots and you finish the job. Here is a Guardian Axe game, kind of what started this all when we were doing this on the replay analysis stream. So some things that can go better. He's going to do an older build and then go for the Ring of Health. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of this video, but due to the math of physical damage reduction and regen and where those items have been buffed or nerfed, It's not as good in terms of creep cutting, but let's pretend it was, okay? To be clear, the armor build is better for creep cutting, just a little bit than the Ring of Health build. But let's pretend they're equal when it comes to the creep cutting, and for all intents and purposes, for a pub game, it's pretty much equal. But we want to do more than just creep cut. I want to do more than that. I want to mess with the enemy, which includes throwing battle hunger on them. And I also want to dive them under this tower, which means I will tank enemy attacks and tower shots on occasion. So any extra armor I get will take me from where Axe currently is, 25% physical damage reduction. If you get the other ring of protections and then you get the chainmail or the helm of the iron will, you'll be sitting at about 50% physical damage reduction, which will go a lot farther when it comes to these dives, and you'll be doing more damage with the battle hunger because you have the armor. This build right now is at 12 DPS base, and then 5 extra from the multiplier with what he currently has. So if you got 2 more ring of protections and then the chainmail, we're now looking at 8 more damage on top of that. So it really does add up over the course of a lot of battle hungers throughout the laning stage, which will lead you to get your kills. So the build can already be adjusted. This Axe does a full body block instead of the partial one where you let the one go. They body block the whole creep wave without doing any scouting, so this is actually still going to work out for us. But this whole block works because they messed up, not because this was strictly the best block to do. If they don't do any body blocking the full creep wave will get you equilibrium about here, which is better than like right here. But is it though, actually? Because they can still balance this wave out, especially if they do a lot of denies. They can get it fixed where equilibrium ends up meeting here. And because it's out here, you can't even do like the creep aggro trick and then your stuff walks under tower to shove out the lane because you're actually too far from the tower. So I really recommend you let the one creep go and then body block the other 3. It will just generally work out in your favor a lot more often. Anyways, in this case, they mess it up. So Axe is going to get good equilibrium. He's going to farm here for a while. They're going to mess up. There's going to be some fights. Up to here, Axe doing pretty well. He was sitting on the gold for a while. He does have the Ring of Health on the way. Sven fights in the creep wave for a little bit. So look at that immense damage he's taking. He does actually get out of here alive, but this is exactly what you want as Axe, where Sven is now in the realm where one spin would kill him. Even just a couple battle hungers might finish the job, if not for this IO doing a bunch of healing. So this is where we feel really comfortable on Axe to consider starting to creep cut. This is the earliest I said you could do it, when you have level 3 and you have Axe could have the phase boots or the helm of the iron will. He's going for the Ring of Health. If you want to do this in your pub games, I don't really care that much. Whatever, you need it, right? You need whatever it is that is going to let you creep cut. Now we need the chance to creep cut. We don't want to do it while we are too low, because that is where it's scary. But as soon as you can get an advantageous situation like this, next step, we gotta shove this lane in, because I don't want to miss this farm, but I have about 15 seconds before this creep wave is around here, and that is when I, as Axe, need to catch it to start killing it quickly. Kill this camp. If it's here, drag it to like boglets, medium camp, whatever, hard camp, farm it. Or if you plan to dive, you can just kill the creep wave here and then chase the Sven. Or you can let the creep wave start chasing you to get the spin procs and then start chasing the Sven. Either way, whatever we plan to do, we have to be here. So this is where you need to start just shoving in this lane. Auto attack the creeps a lot. You're also Axe, so just aggro it by attacking anyone on the top bar that you can see, and the creeps will all hit you, spin, and you'll clear the creep wave really quickly, and then Axe should run this way. Instead, he just kind of like sits here, right, waiting for the CS. He starts balancing the wave. Most other offlaners, this would be good to do, but for anyone who can creep cut, Axe being the best, there's a couple other offlaners who can kind of do it, just not as good as Axe, right? You want to change your mindset. You don't want to play the standard way because you can actually get a lot more gold. We farmed this creep wave, so about 150 gold per creep wave, and now I'm pushing the wave into Sven to get 150 gold per wave. Now, if I can kill him, great. If I can't and he just farms it up, I'm not pulling ahead. When I creep cut, I farm the same 150 gold per creep wave, and then I farm an extra 60. I farm an extra 100. I farm an extra 80. Like whatever camp you end up going to, every single creep wave, you pull ahead of the enemy carry by 60 gold this time. Next creep wave, grab it, hard camp, 100 gold this time. Next creep wave, medium camp, 80 gold this time. And Sven, whatever carry, they cannot match what Axe can do. Axe is uniquely qualified in a no mana wave clearing build, high regen, high armor, naturally tanky, right? No one else can match what Axe can do if you start doing this safely. Not taking too much risk, which we're going to get into in a little bit. That is why this works. And now, right, Sven, even though they can't kill him, he's not farming cleanly. When these towers are hitting them and he's having to run away, he is missing CS, and we can see that starting to build up here. Axe has already doubled him in CS, even though Axe isn't doing what I'm talking about. He's not doing the creep dragging, which he could do for the same amount of time. He's doing this, where he is cutting the creep wave. He's literally just missing 60 gold because he didn't walk over here. It would take the same amount of time to farm because of how fast Helix is. Okay, maybe like an extra second or two, but he's just not doing it. So this is what I'm really recommending you offlaners, especially anyone who plays Axe, anyone who wants to start picking up Axe. Once you get this point, you got to think bigger. You got to start bringing it to the camps. It feels really weird. I get that. But if you start doing it, your net worth is going to explode from 4K at 10 minutes to 5K to 6K. It is very possible because it's a snowball game. Because when you start dragging into these camps as early as 4.5 minutes, and we look at Sven's items, right? He's got nothing. Axe could finish his Vanguard. He could finish his phase boots. He could be working towards the blade mail. You get those items faster than they can get any of their jungle items, and then you kill them with those items, or you just jungle even faster with those items. What I see a lot of offlaners do is something like this, where you try to kill the guy, but sometimes you just can't quite get the job done. And then they end up just like farming the lane like this, like some kind of regular offlaner who can't creep cut. But why would you do that when you are the best creep cutter in the game? So right now, the relative strength between Axe and Sven is insane, right? Axe is nearly double up over the Sven, and especially when you consider like the current HP and all of that, and then you kill the Sven, so you get a boost of gold, he drops down, all that, right? This is the peak of power right now. But when you keep playing this way, which is what the Axe is going to do, you get a situation like this where Axe never really grew his gold lead. Now, don't get me wrong, like I know Axe is at the top and that he won his lane, right? He's 1,300 gold over the Sven. That sounds awesome. How can we be even critiquing Axe? Because I know how much more Axe can do. I know this Axe can have 5,000 net worth, even without ever killing the Sven. If we're saying creep dragging can start here, and you can do it every single creep wave where you get an extra camp per creep wave between 5 and 10 minutes. That is 10 different jungle camps Axe could have added onto his net worth, which depending which ones you do, I know the gold and experience varies, but even if we say it's 80 gold, right? That means Axe is now at 5,100 net worth. And surely as he is growing that gold lead, he'd be strong enough to kill Sven, which means he would then get another chunk of gold. So now we're pushing 5,500, right? This is why you will sometimes see Axes have insane net worths at 10 minutes, like in the first game we saw. Actually, I realized I never showed you the net worths in the first game. So here's the first game. Notice Axe to Shadow Fiend is actually much closer this game. It's about 400 gold difference at that same 5-minute mark, where in the last game, Axe was over 1,000 gold over the Sven already. And by 10 minutes, the Axe is at 5,800 gold compared to the Shadow Fiend, who ended up in a very similar spot to the Sven. He has 3,300 gold, but Axe is just miles further than this Shadow Fiend. And that's what you want when you're trying to gain MMR. Especially if you're playing in this offlane role, you want to be crushing your lane and you want to get as much relative power to do what you can. This video isn't really focused on the rest of the game and what you do with this power, but just imagine at 10 minutes, this is you. Even without me giving you further guidance, your games are just going to go better because you are 1,000 gold over the next highest person who's on your team. But even if it's not your team, right, then you're 1,000 gold over your opponent and you can try to kill that guy because your other lane's lost, like whatever the case may be, right? So this is just a great place to aim for if you are looking to climb. Now, all this sounds great. How are you supposed to deal with it if you are against the Axe? So here's a couple ways. First, I said Axe can't start creep cutting until he hits a certain threshold, the level 3, and then a certain amount of items. So if you can beat Axe in the lane, especially in those first few levels, you delay how soon he can start creep cutting and you make him relatively weak. because we mentioned part of this is Axe will creep cut and jungle and then dive the carry. But if your carry has an extra minute, an extra 2 minutes of farming time to get an item, to level up, whatever, it becomes harder to dive the carry, and that might put a stop a bit to what Axe wants. If you lose first blood, like we saw at the beginning of this clip, that also can help your safe lane, right? So you need some upfront power if you're playing versus the Axe to slow him down and put the pain on him if you have to. In this particular game, Bane is not doing it because Bane is one of the best heroes at stopping creep cutting due to Nightmare. The creeps lose aggro, and so they just run by Axe, and it's a waste of his time. Pugna with Decrepify is another. That is very unique. Most supports cannot do something like that. So if you truly hate Axe creep cutting, you can just learn one of those two heroes. If you don't play one of them, then rather than doing what Bane is doing, I would focus more on your Axe. Now, if your carry will beat the Axe in a one-on-one, then you can do what the Bane is doing, which is just keep the support out of the picture so that your carry beats the Axe in the one-on-one. If you trust your carry to do that, which in a lot of pub games I would recommend, even with the winning matchup, give him a little bit of extra help, do some damage to the Axe before he gets out of control, because once he gets that Helm of the Iron Will, the phase boots, all of that, it's going to be very hard to keep him away from the creeps, keep him away from you, to keep him from doing what he wants to do, because he will just ramp up faster than you. That's just the way offlaners go versus a lot of cores and supports. But at level 1, he is very weak relative to what he's going to be, so put a lot of attention to him at that time. In this game, you can see that Axe is not really winning his lane due to the struggles that have happened at this point. So even though he would like to creep cut and he would like to jungle, when his support leaves and the lane is pushed up, he can't really afford to go creep cut, so he's gonna come back here and jungle. Now this is still good to do, and Axe is one of the better junglers in the game, so it's still nice to have, but you can obviously see the efficiency difference of grabbing a creep wave and going into the camps instantly pretty much versus having to clear the creep wave and then run all the way back here and then run all the way back here. All that running time is time you are not farming compared to farming, fighting, farming to a new creep camp, back, fighting, drag it here, farming, fighting. Like, it's so much of a shorter distance. So this is where Axe wants to be, and anytime you can force him to go back, that is step 1 in stopping this. If you can hear him meowing in this video, this is the culprit. This is the guy. He's creep cutting in your games, in your videos, making a big old ruckus. You got to stop this guy. He's out of control. Okay, here's one of my games where I kind of screwed this up. I'm the Venomancer who's about to die here. So you can see Weaver like messing with us while Axe is clearing out the creep wave. And so even as they choose, like if we choose to fight them, we are gonna lose out on creeps. So as long as they don't die, they don't mind fighting. Of course you want to avoid feeding here and then they'll go farm. So just try not to push it too hard. But once you know you're winning, you can do stuff like they're doing, which is now just like diving me, killing me. I really don't have an option. Now I'm dead and there's a creep wave here. So they're just chasing Muerta. And a little pro tip as you attempt some tower dives, I know it's a little scary. When you're out here and you're coming in to get to the Muerta, who's say like over here, don't just attack, click her. You're going to instantly draw tower aggro and is going to hit you the entire time you're chasing her, even though you can't actually attack her until you get to about here. So when you want to go for these tower dives, just right click where you want to move. The tower will not attack you. It'll focus on these creeps. And then once you actually get close to the carry or the support that you're killing, then you issue your attack command to draw all the aggro so you can start spinning, and because you want to actually attack them and do damage, like do it at this point. And then once you kill them, you can hit the tower a little bit. It doesn't really matter. You want to focus on your own farm. So do what this Axe is doing. Sprint over here to the right, grab the next creep wave, and bring it to the camp. Farm up both. Depending what happens, you can just hang around. So they're low from the kill. We are returning healthy. So Axe is not interested in immediately diving here, which could be an option. This looks very similar to the last time they dove us, right? A creep wave is here, they're both here, but he is recognizing I am low on regen, I need some time to heal up, so let's not go for another dive. Let's let the creeps do a little damage. Let's let Weaver do a little damage. Let me hit them with a couple battle hungers here and there. And otherwise, I'll just wait around here and catch the next creep wave, except he messed it up a little bit. So if you absolutely have to, guys, rather than lose creeps, you can use battle hunger to aggro creep waves like that. But essentially, it's like right here where they won't aggro you until 7.5 minutes. Up to this point, then they can aggro to you. So try to catch them around here. That's why I'm trying to like set up here to stop him, but like I was messing up this lane. I was kind of griefing. Not intentionally, I was just bad, guys. I was bad. And that is going to allow Axes to do stuff like this. Up to here, it depends. Like what camps are available. You can start jungling stuff here, whatever. If you have to deal with this, because we were losing this game. I have an observer here, so you're going to see I am going to feed here once more. Didn't think Axe would come through here. What I'm trying to do is get an observer in this area, because you need to see what Axe is up to. Is he waiting to cut the next creep wave? Is he jungling? When he drags the actual creep wave, I mean, you'll know he's here, but then where is he? Is he coming back to dive you? Or is it late enough in the game where Axe players, if you start creep cutting and you're winning and you're like, how do I pursue this further? Once this tower is down, you continue to farm in this area as Axe, and you will do things like, oh, Muerta thinks she's safe, she comes in here, so you phase boot, sprint at her, try to kill her, and then you go back to jungling, creep cutting, dragging it around. But at some point, we don't know if you're still in here, or if you're actually rotating mid to kill the mid hero, or you're TPing bottom to do something. So if you play versus Axe, and he's starting to reach this point, which I thought we were, right? Like, I was feeding, I'm like, we're losing so badly, we're gonna lose this tower, it's already half dead. So then I'm not gonna know where Axe is. So I want an observer in this area to help us know where it is. And if you can place it before the tower is dead, you might get some help from your teammates. Now, because I screwed this lane up, it's getting out of control a lot faster than ideal. If you can delay it, potentially in that first few levels, or just don't keep feeding like I am, the soonest you will get help is from your mid lane hero when they get their ultimate and then they get a power rune. So if your lane kind of sucks, deal with it as best you can. You may have to start thinking about like, can I make a difference here? Can I make a difference here? Am I the best hero to hold this while the carry goes in jungles? Oh, the carry should be here. The support should go maybe jungle. Who knows? In this case, if I as the Venomancer can help stall this lane out till Puck gets level 6, gets this rune, then maybe we can kill Axe with that. Potentially you can block camps in this area that he is using if you know he keeps going to the same camp. You can actually block it with a sentry if you're capable of farming it or making use of it. So that's what I'm trying to do now. I am trying to clear these camps, so when he spends time walking over here, there's actually nothing for him. And then these plague wards will also give me vision of the area, so I'm trying to set up to now farm here, prevent him from just creep cutting through. But because the creep camp or the creep pushed in too soon, I didn't have enough time to set up here. But I start setting up, and this is where some of the danger is for Axe, right? This is the closest to the tower, so if we were going to get any help, this is where people could TP in and help us the easiest. It didn't quite happen this game, at least not yet. But this is where you would like power. Like, you want to be able to see him here and whittle him so that if it's going to happen, it's easiest to exert your team's power to come in and not have them like, oh, we got to actually chase him over here and kill him. Then they're not going to want to help you as much. Sometimes Axes will overextend. Again, rotations from teammates could really help to get us a kill here, which here's the Ancient Apparition actually coming over to help seal the deal on the Axe kill, even though I die. But look at the gold difference, right? Like, okay, I die for 239 because we're losing, but we get 560 gold for Axe. So it's very worth it in terms of these rotations. If Axe is starting to get out of control, you guys have to help the people up here. Like, they're not going to be able to change it on their own. You're going to have to rotate up here to assist them, if you think it's possible. In terms of if it's possible, actually, let's talk about that. So positioning wise, this is the best place to get to Axe because it's so close to the tower, you can just like pop out and surprise him. Otherwise, you gotta chase this guy, and he's gonna have battle hunger slows and phase boot movement speed real quick, so it's gonna be really hard to get to the Axe unless you have some form of initiation. So for us, it would have to be Puck with the coil who can quickly get to the Axe, coil, and then everyone runs up. If you don't have someone who can actually catch Axe, it's gonna be tough to kill him. How you do your damage is also important. So like, Axe with this build is going to get a lot of armor, especially if he starts killing you and he starts getting some Coat of Blood armor. So the more magic damage and pure damage your team has, the easier it will be to kill Axe rather than having to depend on a bunch of physical damage that he is resistant to, plus he's actually spinning more while you attack him. If you can just throw out chunks of magic damage, that is the easiest way to punish him if it's possible. Some matchups it just won't be, and you're gonna have to look to other lanes to do stuff instead. So in this game, here is where we were losing pretty badly, right? We're about 600 gold behind the Axe, not to mention me behind the Weaver, 1,000 gold. That was really, guys, it was a really bad game, okay? Ignore that. But by our team rotating in, right, Axe was kind of pulling ahead, but then we get that kill here. Look, Muerta's game gets saved because Axe can't farm for a while because he's dead. Muerta finally gets space to farm. So by 10 minutes, despite how bad our lane went, because my team rotated in, Muerta ends up on par with Axe, who is not out of control. This is not the 5,000, 6,000 net worth Axe. This is actually pretty normal. To close this out, Axe players, how far do you push this? First of all, take the tower once you're winning. You don't have to strictly be the one hitting it. Just by constantly shoving in creep waves, they'll finish the job. But do try to come in and get the last hit because it's just free gold. And after that, stay in this area till you hit whatever item you think you need to be active. Right now, Blink and Blade Mail is extremely popular in pub games. The exact order depends on you, what you think your job in the game is. But whatever you think it is, let's say you get Blade Mail first, that helps you farm more, but can you actually start fights, right? If you start showing up to this lane, and you need to blink to jump that guy, you're just wasting everybody's time. You're wasting your own time, you're wasting your team's time, you're all splitting XP, so just stay up here as much as you can and farm, unless you see them dive the lifestealer. And now I don't need to blink, right? I'm just gonna TP into the tree and run out and call him. I'm gonna TP onto this tower, run out and call. I don't need to be blinking aggressively to start stuff. So if you need the blink, farm up the blink. It sounds obvious, but a lot of you get tempted when this tower drops. It's like, oh, I guess I gotta go take another tower. Don't worry. You're still farming really fast up here. You are stopping the enemy carry. Every time they walk up, chase them. They try to fall back. That's okay. You can maybe chase in there too. They try to look for camps. You've already farmed them, right? So you are still slowing the enemy carry even as you stay up here. And then once you get the items you need to be active, which is typically like the blink or the blade mail, then you can do stuff. If you want to do this with someone that is not Axe, it's kind of possible, but Axe is unique in that it doesn't take any mana to creep cut for him because of counter helix. The only one similar is Centaur War Runner, who can't do it as fast, but he is similar in retaliate. So Centaur is another technical possibility. Tidehunter, Primal Beast, those kind of heroes can sort of creep cut and creep drag for how sustainable they are, but they're just not as fast, or they're mana dependent on how quickly they can do it. So that's why I usually recommend Axe as the go-to. Like, I want to climb MMR, who should I start with? Start with Axe, learn to creep cut, and you will always be useful off of a winning lane with the Blink Blade Mail calls. Really good versus, pub games. They like to pick 3 physical damage cores, so kill them with the Blade Mail. Oh, my team has no initiation. You have the BKB piercing call, AoE 3 seconds, right? It's really good. You offer everything in every game. I mean, not like everything, but you offer a lot in every single game. So I'm a huge fan of Axe if you're looking to climb MMR. All right, I hope you guys like that. If you want feedback on your own games, maybe your own Axe creep cutting, or you play a different role, a different hero, and you're like, how can I climb with this? Then show up to our replay analysis streams, which I've been doing on Monday and Wednesdays, YouTube or Twitch. Just bring your match IDs, who you're playing, all that. And I just randomly pick people and give a lot of really useful feedback, in my opinion. If you guys ever want to watch the VODs or just tune in, there's a lot of info there, which it could be yours if you show up. So I'll see you there. Bye.